Ian, you go on. I mean, you did the player ratings, but go on.
I will agree with you. It wasn't very good against Brentford.
Eh, eh,
Thought there were flashes. We still had some players playing. Am I down a bit? Am I? I'll just bring that a bit closer. Is that any better? I
a
hope
bit
it
better.
A
is.
bit.
Hope you can hear
You
me.
do.
I'm going to speak the
Go on.
truth. We weren't very good against Brentford. Um, I don't think we were miles off getting something from. I thought when we equalised, we were going to go on and win it, but that was after being very disjointed, having no midfield that could control the ball. It's those chaos games. We're always in with a chance when it's chaos like that. But I think that is what I'm coming around to, having listened to people and watched game after game where we're trying to be chaotic. As soon as you find a team that's got a system that can keep hold of the ball, that can bide the time and wait to pick a pass and play through you, then you're down, aren't you? You're beaten.
Mm.
Really schooled by Liverpool in the in the last 60 minutes. Schooled by Manchester United in the first half. And if we're honest, schooled for large parts of that game on Saturday when Brentford kept the ball from us. So yeah, things have got to change. I don't think Eddie Howe needs sacking. I believe him and trust him when he says, "If I'm not doing it, I will leave." And I think he's drawn a line in the sand today at the press conference. He knows he's got to find some of the old Eddie Howe magic and change things around to change this. And if he doesn't, I'm sure he'll step aside. And I think that's a much more dignified way for us to change manager than go on a witch hunt and throw him out when he hasn't had a chance to change things. He's on notice that he's got to change them. I don't know what you guys thought. I was quite impressed with his
Well,
post-match interview was very honest, and today he sounded like he was ready to get to work to get things changed. How he
I
does
do
it,
appreciate.
that's that. That's Eddie Howe magic.
I do appreciate the honesty, and I actually value, as opposed to what some of the rhetoric from Win earlier on that he doesn't think is good. I actually value that and think it's good. It's good that he's honest for once. That's actually good. Now, but I'm not in the business of giving credit to is if he believes he is not the right man anymore, so he's gonna leave. I mean, that's what any. First of all, nobody's entitled to that. He's entitled to his contract. So if they want to sack him, they sack him and pay his contract. As simple as that. So I mean, he's entitled to his contract. Now, if he wants to go out as a martyr, because I felt like the early night show in the beginning was about Eddie Howe being a martyr and just leaving and doing what's best for the team and for Newcastle United and all that stuff. Well, that's cool. I mean, he can do that, but we're not gonna. As a club, to do what's best for Newcastle United, you can't wait for somebody to decide that they are no good anymore, so they're leaving. That's not a way of running things. You got to make that assessment if you are the higher entity within that club or company or whatever. Would it be nice?
Hopkinson
Of
made
course,
that
yeah.
assessment a week
Of course, it
ago
would be
when he
nice.
said Eddie Howe was his man. So
Well,
they're
there
not
you
going to
go.
do that, are they? They're not going to.
Well, no, well, of course, but that's fine. They made the decision, and that's absolutely fine. They can make that decision. They're entitled to do that. But and we'll see where it goes. And I think that ultimately the right decision is to maintain Eddie Howe until the end of the season, and go on about it. But I'm giving giving him credit to say, when he figures out he's not the right man, he'll let us know. What kind of business? We can't run a business like that. We can't run a club like that. So, but go on there. We're going to get Kevin's take on this situation. Kevin, what do you think?
I think what he means is if he believes he's not the right man, he'll walk away. But I think any manager who's kind of done what he's done for the club, again, regardless if you're Eddie in or Eddie out, it's almost impossible to deny what he's done for us. He'll always back himself in terms of he'll think he's the best man. I personally do think he is. It's nice to see more support for Eddie now. I think it was like a minority thing. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, it has become louder and louder, and you could argue rightly so with some of the previous results. But for me, I just think personally, we haven't had confidence all season. It hasn't looked like the team has ever had full confidence, whether that's down to the manager or results not going our way or a very disrupted summer in terms of the Isak saga, as well as the Isak saga, us getting turned down by every single player we went in for, being public knowledge. not having the correct setup with a CEO and all that stuff. For me, I think he is the right man. I think over his 4 years, we've probably overperformed for 3 year, 10 month, and then for 2 months we've underperformed. So I think, again, if you look at any other job in almost any other sport, if you can overperform for 90% of your time in that job, then you are still doing an amazing job. Unfortunately, it's football. It's fickle. It changes week by week. It's just the nature of the job, I guess. But yeah, look, I think for me personally, my take on the whole Eddie Howe thing, I think at the moment it all comes down to patience with fans. I think if you get a new manager in, there'll be more patience when they make a mistake or don't change formation or don't do something different. There'll be more patience for that. Because Eddie's been there for 4 years, there's just less patience. And I saw exactly the same thing as a Newcastle fan with Sir Bobby Robson. Sir Bobby, absolute legend of the club. Nobody, no self-respecting Newcastle fan could ever say anything bad about Bobby. And he got hounded out, so to speak. And we brought in Graham Souness, and years of mediocrity followed. So,
Yeah, but
for me, go on, Chris, go on.
No, because I feel like, we're trying to justify one. And again, I'm not saying that you need to sack Eddie Howe now, or even, I don't think he can take it any farther. But if it comes that he can turn things around, that's fine. But I'm just, we're trying to justify one thing because of something bad happened and bad decisions after.
No, I think you've got to learn
that justifies. No, there was bad leadership up top. So they made the wrong decision to bring Graham Souness in. It's not the sacking of Bobby Robson didn't make that happen.
I don't think at the moment you look at our squad of players, and like I say, in the last 6 transfer windows, we've only brought players in one in terms of first team players coming in. There's only been one window in the last 6 where that's happened. Obviously, you've had a squad for a long period of time who have been together, a very small squad still, albeit one of our strongest squads in recent years. Not that takes some doing when you look at the years of neglect. I think when you look at it on paper as a businessman or as an owner, you would be looking at that thinking, unless we can get a Luis Enrique or a Pep Guardiola, and then even if you bring Pep in, you've got to chuck money at it, because Pep will bring in people like Claudio Bravo and it not work, and rather than coach him to be better, he'll just sell him. You can't do that anymore with FFP, especially, or squad cost ratios it's going to be. I think we've overperformed. I think we probably value our players a little bit higher, and I think we've been spoiled in terms of the projection. I think if we were to carry on the projection over the last 4 years, we'd be challenging for the league this year, which is just not doable. So there was always going to be a plateau. I think taking a step back and taking the emotion out of it, which is very hard to do as Newcastle fans, I think it's almost, for me, a case of, we'll see where we are in the summer, depending on how the season ends. We'll have a look and potentially see who's available. But yeah, for me, Eddie, like I say, for 90-95% of his whole time here, has overperformed, and a little bit of underperformance for me doesn't justify getting rid of a manager.
Roy, what is your stance? I've seen you extremely busy on X. You've making it a job of yours to respond to everybody that backs Eddie Howe, which is your personal, of course, your own personal decision. But so what do you make of this whole situation then? Because one thing I think, my opinion, is that PIF will not sack him, or PIF or whoever's in charge, because of many things that are said. The CEO, as Ian was saying, backs him publicly. Everybody backs him publicly, and nothing really leads for anything to happen. But what do you make of this whole situation right now?
Well, we are where we are because of 2 reasons: what's happening on the pitch and what's happening off the pitch. So what's happening off the pitch, when your sporting director comes and says your transfer policy is not fit for purpose, and then suddenly he disappears. There's one. So I don't want to explain what's happened. We all know what's happened. Who got rid of him? Who's running the show? Who did all that mess in the summer? I'm not blaming FFP, PSR, or KGB, or CIA. I'm not blaming any of these. When you got the Mackhams and Fulham and Brentford and them who spent fraction of what we did, got better players than us.
They don't follow squad cost ratio in UEFA, though, to be fair.
It doesn't matter. They spent 100 million, 80 million.
We have to follow squad cost ratio in Europe, and they don't.
Yeah, but we spent 250 million in the summer.
We spent 250 million our last 6 windows.
We spent 750 million. It's 400 net.
Potentially
So-
overall, but not in the last 6 windows.
And overall, we spend 187 million a season on average, including that big shambles one we did in the first Champions League when he went and bought squad players instead of making the first 11 better. I said that 3 years ago.
Hang on. The first, when we qualified for the Champions League, the first time we bought 2 players.
No, we bought 5.
Tonali and Bonds.
No, we got Hall.
And Tonali got banned for a season, and Bonds was injured virtually the full season.
Tino, Hall, both of them were squads players.
Yeah.
And we got
At
Bonds.
the time, they were young.
And we got Toon. Well, unlucky with Toon, the other 3 were not starters at the time.
Live on YouTube,
on the website,
on DAB, and on your smart speaker. NUFC Talk Radio.